The Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, 14th leader in a line of Buddhist spiritual and political leaders of Tibet. In line with Buddhist beliefs, the Dalai Lama believes the troubles of this life can be overcome through moral and mental discipline. He was born 1935 in the small village of Taksta in northeastern Tibet. Born to a peasant family, he was recognized at the age of 2 in accordance with Tibetan tradition as the reincarnation of his predecessor, the 13th Dalai Lama. Buddhists believe the Dalai Lamas are the manifestations of the Bodhisattva of compassion, who choose to reincarnate to serve the people. The Dalai Lama took over the political leadership of Tibet in November 1950, not long after the Chinese Communist Army invaded the country. The Dalai Lama was 15 years old and leading a country on the brink of crisis. He was called upon to assume full political power as head of state and government when Tibet was threatened by the might of China. In 1954, he went to Peking to talk with Mao Zedong and other Chinese leaders. While visiting India in 1956 to attend the 2500th Buddha Jayanti, he had a series of meetings with Prime Minister Nehru about deteriorating conditions in Tibet. After years of trying to negotiate with the Chinese and seeing his people suffer under Chinese rule, the Dalai Lama finally fled to India in April 1959. Seen here with Indira Gandhi, he was forced into exile in India after the Chinese military occupation of Tibet. The Dalai Lama has never given up hope of going home and continues to focus on the cause of returning Tibet to its own people.
That's where everybody is a belief. I think strong faith. One day we can return. We will return to our own land.
Even in exile, the Dalai Lama spent his early years appealing to the United Nations on the question of Tibet, resulting in 3 resolutions adopted by the General Assembly. He published a draft constitution for Tibet, which assured a democratic form of government. In the last 2 decades, the Dalai Lama has set up educational, cultural, and religious institutions, helping to preserve the Tibetan identity and its rich heritage. Since his first visit to the West in the early 1970s, his reputation as a scholar and peacemaker has grown steadily. In recent years, a number of Western universities and institutions have conferred peace awards and honorary doctorate degrees upon the Dalai Lama in recognition of his writings in Buddhist philosophy and of his leadership in the service of freedom and peace. His Holiness has talked with the Archbishop of Canterbury, met with leaders of the Roman Catholic and Jewish communities, and spoken at interfaith services. His messages continue to focus on the commonality of faiths and the need for unity among different religions. He speaks not only of spiritual matters, but also of global peace and environmental concerns.
I always believe, our approach, middle approach, is actually helping to bring stability, unity, prosperity, and ultimately bring harmonious society.
The Dalai Lama remains an active and revered humanitarian. His struggles for peace and freedom have made him one of the most recognized and well-regarded political and spiritual leaders in the world, greatly admired not just by Buddhists, but by people everywhere.